Tonight's fable is by Edith Nesbit. There's nothing like a merry peal of bells, so atmospheric. These ones must be ringing out for John Charrington's wedding. No one ever thought that May Forster would marry John Charrington, but he thought differently, and things which John Charrington intended had a way of coming to pass. He asked her to marry him before he went up to Oxford. She laughed and refused him. He asked her again next time he came home. Again she laughed, tossed her dainty blonde head, and refused. A third time he asked her. She said it was becoming a habit, and laughed at him more than ever. May was the belle of our village, and we were all in love with her. Therefore, we were as much annoyed as surprised when John walked into our club and invited us all to his wedding. Your wedding? Who's the happy pair? When's it to be? John Charrington filled his pipe and lighted it before he replied, and then he said, "I'm sorry to deprive you fellows of your only joke, but Miss Forster and I are to be married in September." "You don't mean it." "He's been rejected again, and it's turned his head." "No," I said, rising, "I see it's true. Charrington has bewitched the only pretty girl in our 20-mile radius. Was it mesmerism or a love potion, Jack?" "Neither, sir, but a gift you'll never have, perseverance, and the best luck a man ever had in this world." There was something in his voice that silenced me, and all chaff of the other fellows failed to draw him further. We were all asked to the wedding, and I was to be the best man. The coming marriage was much canvassed at afternoon tea-tables, and the question was always asked, "Does she care for him?" I used to ask that question myself, but after a certain evening in August, I never asked it again. I was coming home from the club through the churchyard. Our church is on a thyme-grown hill, and the turf about it is so thick and soft that one's footsteps are noiseless. I vaulted the low wall and threaded my way between the tombstones. At the same instant, I heard John Charrington's voice and saw May sitting on a flat gravestone, her face turned towards the splendor of the western sun. Its expression ended any question of love for him. John lay at her feet. His voice broke the stillness of the golden evening. "My dear, I believe I should come back from the dead if you wanted me." I coughed to indicate my presence, and passed on into the shadow, fully enlightened. 2 days before the wedding, I had to run up to town on business. The train was late, and as I stood grumbling, my watch in my hand, whom should I see but John Charrington and May Forster walking up and down the platform, arm in arm, looking into each other's eyes, careless of the interest of the porters. It was not till the train drew up at the platform that I obtrusively passed the pair and took the corner in a first-class smoking carriage. I pride myself on my discretion, but if John were travelling alone, I wanted his company. I had it. "Hello, old man," came his cheery voice as he swung his bag into my carriage. "Here's luck. I was expecting a dull journey." "Where are you off to?" "Old Branbridge's," he answered, shutting the door and leaning out for a last word with his sweetheart. "Do you think I should let anything keep me? And the day after tomorrow, our wedding day?" John Charrington rarely changed his opinions, never his resolutions. The old boy's been awfully good to me. Now he's dying. I must go and see him, but I shall come home. The train moved. Nothing shall keep me. We steamed out. He leaned back in his corner and explained that his godfather lay dying at Pease Marsh Place, some 50 miles away, and had sent for John. John had felt bound to go. I shall be back tomorrow, or if not, the day after, in heaps of time. Suppose Mr. Branbridge dies, alive or dead. I mean to be married on Thursday. At Pease Marsh Station he got out. I went on to London, where I stayed the night. When I got home the next afternoon, my sister greeted me with, "Where's Mr. Charrington?" "Goodness knows," I answered testily. "I thought you might have heard from him. Isn't he back?" "No, Geoffrey." My sister Fanny always had a way of jumping to such conclusions as were least favourable to her fellow creatures. "He has not returned, and what is more, depend upon it, he won't. You mark my words, there'll be no wedding tomorrow." "You mark my words," I retorted with asperity. "You had better give up making such a thundering idiot of yourself." But though I could snarl confidently to my sister, I did not feel so comfortable when late that night I, standing on the doorstep of John's house, heard that he had not returned. I went home gloomily through the rain. Next morning brought a brilliant blue sky, gold sun, and all such softness of air and beauty of cloud as go to make up a perfect day. I woke with a vague feeling of having gone to bed, anxious. But with my shaving water came a note from John, which sent me up to the Forsters with a light heart. May was in the garden. "He's written to you too," she said when I reached her side. "Yes, I'm to meet him at the station at 3, and come straight on to the church." Her face looked pale, but there was a brightness in her eyes, and a tender quiver about the mouth. "Mr. Branbridge begged him to stay another night. He had not the heart to refuse. I wish he hadn't stayed." I was at the station at 2:30. I felt annoyed with John. It seemed a slight to the beautiful girl who loved him that he should come out of breath and with the dust of travel upon him to take her hand. But when the 3 o'clock train glided in and glided out again, having brought no passengers to our little station, I was more than annoyed. There was no other train for 35 minutes. I calculated that with much hurry we might just get to the church in time for the ceremony. I wandered round the station, reading the advertisements and timetables, getting more and more angry with John Charrington. This confidence in his own power of getting everything he wanted the minute he wanted it was leading him too far. The 3:35 was late. I ground my pipe between my teeth and stamped with impatience as I watched the signals. Click. The signal went down. 5 minutes later I had flung myself into the carriage that I had brought for John. "Drive to the church," I said. "Mr. Charrington hasn't come." Anxiety now replaced anger. What had become of the man? Could he have been taken ill? Some awful accident must have happened to him. The thought that he had played her false never entered my head. It was 5 minutes to 4 as we drew up at the churchyard gate. Eager onlookers lined the path. I sprang from the carriage and passed between them. Our gardener had a good place near the door. I stopped. "Are they waiting, Biles?" "Waiting? Oh, sir, why, it must be over by now." "Then Mr. Charrington's come to the minute, sir. Must have missed you somehow when I say, sir. My opinion is he's been drinking pretty free. His clothes was all dusty and his face like a sheet. I tell you, I didn't like the looks of him at all. And the folks inside are saying all sorts of things. You'll see. Something's gone very wrong with Mr. John, and he's tried liquor. He looked like a ghost." The crowd in the churchyard were talking in whispers and getting ready rice to throw at the bride and bridegroom. The ringers were ready with their hands on the ropes to ring out the merry peal as the bride and bridegroom should come out. A murmur from the church announced them. Out they came. Biles was right. John Charrington did not look himself. There was dust on his coat. His hair was disarranged. There was a black mark above his eyebrow. He was deathly pale, but his pallor was not greater than that of the bride, who might have been carved in ivory. As they passed out, the ringers stooped, and then, on the ears expecting the gay wedding peal, came the slow tolling of the passing bell. The ringers dropped the ropes and fled like rabbits out into the sunlight. The bride shuddered, and grey shadows came about her mouth, but the bridegroom led her on down the path where the people stood with the handfuls of rice. The handfuls were never thrown. In a hush like the hush in the chamber of death, the bridal pair passed into their carriage, and its door slammed behind them. "If I'd seen his condition, sir," said old Forster to me as we drove off, "I would have stretched him on the floor of the church, by heaven I would, sir, before I'd have let him marry my daughter." He put his head out of the window. "Drive like hell! Don't spare the horses!" We passed the bride's carriage. I forbore to look at it, and old Forster turned his head away. "Hell to the devil!" he swore. We reached home before it. When the carriage stopped in front of the steps, old Forster and I ran down. "Great heaven! The carriage is empty!" I had the door open in a minute, and saw no sign of John Charrington, and May, his wife, a huddled heap of white satin on the floor. "I drove straight here, sir," said the coachman, as the bride's father lifted her out, "and I'll swear no one got out of the carriage." We carried her into the house in her bridal dress, and drew back a veil. I saw her face. Shall I ever forget it? White. White and drawn with agony and horror, bearing such a look of terror as I have never seen since, except in dreams. And her hair, her radiant blonde hair, I tell you, it was white, like snow. As we stood, her father and I, half mad with the horror and mystery of it, a boy came up the avenue, a telegraph boy. He brought the orange envelope to me. I tore it open. Mr. Charrington was thrown from the dog-cart on his way to the station at 1:30, killed on the spot, and he was married to May Forster at 3:30. Alive or dead, I mean to be married on Thursday. Alive or dead, alive or dead, alive or dead, I shall be married, dead or alive. What had passed in that carriage on the homeward drive, no one knows. No one will ever know. Oh, May. Oh, my dear. Before a week was over, they laid her beside her husband in our little churchyard on the thyme-covered hill. Thus was accomplished John Charrington's wedding. These Fireside Tales are abridged by Tamsin Collison, with music by Chris O'Shaughnessy and produced by Frank Sterling. They are a unique production for Radio 2. This is Christopher Lee, wishing you a very good night. Sleep well.